Well, the president threatens all the time. I think what's more serious, however, is there is growing bipartisan consensus that there needs to be some level of regulation. I share that concern. I think Facebook and Google have amassed enormous power. I think when power like that is concentrated, it is always abused, inevitably. I think there is a complete lack of transparency, really, in terms of how these companies deal with the information that they have. And honestly, I don't quite understand Facebook's move into Bitcoin, because I think it is going to attract even more scrutiny and regulation. If you're dealing with everyone's private information and money at the same time, that's going to draw a lot of attention.
Carly, so is this a simple size and scale issue that they should just be broken up, or more specific, like privacy or responsibility for the accuracy of their content?
Well, I think there are a whole range of policy ideas. One is size and scale. Let's just break them up. I tend to favor regulation that's focused on creating a floor below which a company's behavior cannot fall. So personally, I would favor far more transparency around what they actually do and how they do it, and policies that require consumers to opt in, as opposed to the way it works now, where consumers, if they understand it well enough, can opt out, but most consumers don't really understand what either Google or Facebook are doing. But I think that whole range of options is now on the table. I don't think we're going to return to a time where regulation of tech is off the table, as it has been for a long time. So with or without Trump, I think Google and Facebook are heading into a different kind of scenario in Washington, D.C., just as they are in Europe.
And Carly, I mean, there's also been this idea of, if you just treat Facebook and Google like publishers and basically hold them to the standards of the rest of media, this whole range of options that I guess if you're a CEO of one of these companies, you have to either be contesting or being proactive about or preparing to defend against.
Yes, I think that's right. And this may not be the perfect analogy, but I recall working at AT&T a long time ago. I was an entry-level employee, but when divestiture first was being discussed. And if you look back at that situation, what you saw was a company, AT&T, that fought against being broken up or additional regulation for a long time, but never really prepared for an alternative they could live with. And so towards the end, they were stuck with very unpalatable choices. So my advice, for what it's worth, to Google and Facebook would be to say, start thinking about what policy prescriptions you think would serve you, your shareholders, and your consumers best. Don't stick your head in the sand and pretend it's not going to happen. Don't just fight against everybody and say, oh, trust us, we're doing better, our motives are pure. Both Google and Facebook have tried that. It's not very effective. So I hope they're spending some time and energy thinking about what would work from a policy point of view that they could live with.
It seems like that they're doing that increasingly, saying, regulate us. We want to help be part of the solution. And I don't know, looking at GDPR in Europe as an example, now that didn't do too much damage.
Well, regulate us, we want to be part of the solution is actually smart, because at this phase, in this stage, the worst part of all for them is uncertainty. And that's certainly what investors are reacting to, is we don't know what's going to happen, but whatever's going to happen, it's going to be different than what we have right now, which is sort of the wild, wild west. And so I do think it's smart for them to try to be part of the solution. And that's why I said earlier, Facebook's move into cryptocurrency I find very odd, because I think it is going to draw even more attention, even more scrutiny, and it will not build trust, in my view.